Okay, part 3. Let's continue down this list here. Do you prefer Asian women than all other races? No. No. I live in the moment. It's just when in Rome, eat Chinese, right? I guess. It doesn't really matter to me. It just depends on what area I'm living in. So, you know, I live in Japan, so now I watch JAV. But if I go back to the States, then I'm back to Braziers. Anyways, what was it like meeting the Big Four in person? Meeting myself? I don't know. It was fine. But yeah, you were probably talking about Greg and Tyrone. Tyrone, it was fine. Tyrone and I, first time we met, but it was like we never, it's like we've always known each other or whatever. It was like no big difference or anything like that. He was actually smaller than I thought. Actually, like, I was taller, and I was like, okay, you know what? If I actually hit that gym up a little bit, you know, okay, it'd be all right. Greg was actually more fit than I thought, and it was actually worked out a lot more. He's been really taking care of himself. All right, bye. Sorry about that for the recording. But somebody went to go get drinks. It's New Year's Eve, and we're about to get fucked up. Greg was all good. Jerry was real cool to work with. All of them. It was cool to see, and like, honestly, I hope in the near future that if there was ever a way, I would hope that we all could collaborate again to do something. Like, there's got to be something, because watching those videos, and a lot of people have said this, outside of just doing reactions, we all have like these personalities that transfer really well when the three of us get together, in a sense of like, we all have this like, and I guess that's the big difference between why, you know, people never considered us, just like, they would consider us reactors, but the channel wouldn't be a reaction channel, basically. Maybe Tyrone more than Greg and myself, but we have the ability to do so many other things, and people really liked when we mixed well, when we got together, because we could feed off of each other. And it must be an acting thing. It has to be some sort of form of being an entertainer, actor, or something like that, that works really well. But there's always this idea of like, there was something more we could do that'd be great, basically. And I've seen that with other people now through Dante and Callie. Like, it works really well. Like, you know, when people are in the business or in the industry, and you can really bounce things off of them, compared to something like with the Dating in Japan Japanese video. These are people that, you know, are just more regular people, so it's hard for them to pick up on cues and things like that. So, but it was cool. It was good to meet them and such. When I grow up, I want to react to things like you. Yeah, try to do a little more than that in life. Have you ever been to the strip clubs in Japan? Yeah, they're not necessarily called strip clubs. So they have them, as far as I heard. There's kind of like the more traditional ones, but I've never been to those. I've been to the more traditional type of fetish type bars or whatever in LA and in Japan, but it's a little different. That's a whole nother video. What was my childhood like? Sad. Let's see. What was the meaning behind your tattoo? Venom. We are Venom. Okay. Are you excited for Doctor Strange? Yeah, okay. What was the hardest scene or show to react and watch? Oh. Raka Raka. I think the Raka Raka stuff I didn't like. I really, because I've always had this dark, disgusting imagery of like babies just being born and being beaten, like used as pillows and shit. And when I saw something similar to that actually being created in a Raka Raka video, that shit was like a little too much for me. So, and I also, I don't like seeing kids getting hurt. I don't like kids being mutilated and shit, so I didn't like that Scorpion, the Mortal Kombat thing. That was too much for me. So, yeah. Let's see. Why do you live in Japan? Yeah. What is your goal in life, Akasan? Do you have a dream in the future? My main dream right now is just voice. I wanna establish more of a entertainment career in Japan. Just I want to try it out, see if it would be kind of cool to do something like that without compromising. Like, I don't want to cut my hair. I don't want to become like the stereotypical black in Japan. So I kind of want to try it out, but I also still want to do it on my terms, if that makes sense. So if anything, maybe voiceovers is just easier for me to do. If you could travel back in time 3 years before, what advice would you give your younger self? It's a good question, Joel B. Reactions. I think I know you actually from Reactor Mania a long time ago, Mr. Joel B. 3 years ago, talked to young Akasan. I'd come back in time and I'd be like, am I too early? Am I too early? Am I too soon? No! Tyrone! He's the king! No, I'm just kidding. I'd probably tell him to... That's a good question. You know what I'd probably tell... I don't want to say because I don't want to change anything, really. I'm fine. I'm satisfied. But if anything, maybe I'd probably tell him to create, if it makes things easier, to create a side channel instead, to move the reactions to a different channel, because it's kind of hard because now I have to play catch up. So something like that, because there was a time 3 years ago when people were like, I had this more core fandom of the J-vlogging, and I feel bad because I lost a lot of them because the reactions became too much for them, and it was, yeah, and I kind of missed that kind of group, because it was always really cool, because I felt like always had people close to talk to about Japan and other things like that, and there were people that really were invested in watching these long videos and such. So so that kind of sucks. Like, I kind of wish I could do both, and I wish both audiences would be fine with both of them. So I don't know if there was something, maybe create a side channel for reactions way earlier. Maybe that's what I'd do. I don't know. I don't really reflect back on the past or something like that. Why will you come to France one day? Sure, why not? Anything? Do you see YouTube as potentially becoming a full-time career? Probably not, and there's a few reasons for that. It's possible, if I went back to the States, it is possible to have a full-time career as a YouTuber at this point. Maybe I could, if I really wanted to, maybe. This month has been very strong, but December has always been very strong. Next month will be the big test of time. Like, it is cheaper to live in the States. It's possible, it's just not. But in Japan, no, I can't. I can't do it at all in Japan because of my visa. So even if I wanted to, I can't, because my visa is all dependent upon my job that I currently have, my full-time job now. So in order to stay in Japan, I have to be a working Negro and such. So there's no way, and that was one of the reasons I was so stressed out months ago, because it was this issue of like, look, there's so much demand from the YouTube channel, but there's also this demand from my private life. One of these, I can't keep doing both of these forever, and one of them has to give. So which one do I want to do? Leave Japan, give up my visa, leave Japan, and go back to the States and do YouTube all day, but at that time have this image of just being a fucking, like, only a reaction channel. Like, that's gonna be that's gonna be the basis of, again, at this time, that's gonna be the basis of my complete life, my reputation. Like, hey, you know, I just watch stuff all day and get paid for watching things. Like, nah, no. So, that was one of those big stress situations. It's like, well, I don't want to give up the channel and I don't want to give up Japan. So, one of those, that's the big issue right now. Like, even people like with 3 times bigger amount of subscribers in Japan, they all have a job they have to keep. They all have a regular job they have to do. When they come home, just edit all day. And it's hard, because especially J-vloggers, when the Vlogmas was coming, that was putting out a vlog every day to do those shots, edit every day like that. Even Tikio Sam was talking to me in a private chat the other day, and he's like, dude, I don't know how the fuck you're able to put out videos, 3 or 4 videos every day like this, every day for years and years, and still be able to, and because he doesn't even have he has a minimal job right now. He has, because he's self-sponsored at this point, or he has permanent residency, and he can, like, so he doesn't have to work as much. So he's like, how the fuck are you doing this with your job as well? All right. Next one. If you could go back 10 years, where do you think you would have been at this point compared to where you are? Same deal. All right. Have you ever read? No. Okay. What thing will you miss in LA? I'll miss my family, the food, and the prices of electronics. Is, believe it or not, guys, it's actually much cheaper in America to buy products, TVs, everything. It's yeah. This is a question, I hope you can answer it. I saw your videos when you were in LA, all of them, and I saw you very, very happy. How come you don't stay with your family, your friends? What can you do? But yeah. So yeah, it was, you know, it was good to be back in LA with my family and my friends, and it was great. I was definitely happier, but I was also visiting as well. I'm sure if the tables were turned and I was just visiting Japan, I would look very happy as well. It's just that out here in Japan, it is my main stay, my job, everything, and on a daily basis. It's very different when you're on vacation versus when, like I said, working all day and then you come home and you're like, hey guys, what's up? Akasan's Honest Reactions or whatever, right? And you have to sit and grind on that editing bay to get 3 or 4 videos out every day. It's very different. The hustle, you're grinding versus being on vacation. All right. Anime industry. How did I get back into the anime? How was I part of the anime industry? I used to publish manga in Los Angeles. I worked for a publishing company as well as I was in the industry. I had my hands in a lot of different things and meeting different manga artists. It was a long time ago though, so I'm sure most of my connections are all dried up now, but a good amount of my friends have created some really cool stuff. You guys know Afro Samurai, the Linkin Park video, Breaking the Habit, things like that. So that's how I kind of got into it. I have a question for the one and only Akasan, and my question is, how much as a YouTuber, a YouTube cheer, what? My question is, how much as a YouTube cheer changed since the first time you ever did YouTube, and now also what inspired you to start a YouTube channel? There wasn't any. YouTube has changed a lot. It's changed a lot, and I'd say overall for the better. People always complain about like channels changing, but or YouTube changing things up for the worse, and YouTube is going to hell. But nah, they always do that, because you know what? You know who benefits from all that every time they make the videos? The same motherfuckers complaining in these videos about how YouTube is shutting down my channel or some bullshit like that, where, ooh, hey, look at that advertising logo right there. Hey, I just made some money off this panic video, so it's all good. And what inspired me to do my channel? The fact that I got banned from MySpace. So I needed some place to drop my videos. All right. Am I gonna bring back the wall that I had in my videos back in Fukuoka? Covered movie posters? No. But now I have this. So at that time I didn't think I had anything. Okay. What first attracted you to following comic book characters and such love and enthusiasm? What about those heroes like Batman, Superman that makes you stick with them through their many incarnations across all mediums? I think it's just the relatability. I'm not a big fan of Superman, though I have seen some awesome versions of Superman that have been done. But with Batman, it's just the relatability that I've always liked about him, and like I could actually really see myself in that same sort of idea of chasing long lost rare blue flowers in the a rare blue flower in the Himalayas and such. I always just liked that story, and I've always liked the Bruce Wayne's rage about. No, I don't like using the rage one because that's too Frank Millerish. But Bruce Wayne's desire and passion to become more and be stronger, and yeah, this kind of like that. I think people see that same thing with Spider-Man. He's the everyday man type of deal, but his fantastic, spectacular powers, but just everyday type of appeal. All right, next, T Jizzle. On your journey to 100K, did you ever doubt that you would make it there and believe that it wasn't worth all the trouble? I had no doubt that it would happen. Sometimes I felt like it wasn't. Was it worth all the trouble? It's kind of hard to say because the same idea that the same thought process I had of like how to get to 100,000 subscribers and sense was also the same problem I knew I was going to have eventually, in the sense of like, okay, let me just crank out all these videos, especially reaction ones, and we would get a bunch of subscribers, but then, you know, I also want them to get into the other stuff they have going on. But I found that that was much harder, much harder than it looked, because I thought that I would be able to just kind of get them to slide into that other stuff. But some people were just like, what the fuck is all this other shit? And then I did also notice that that was the problem, like as the years went by, that the audience changed as well, because as I mentioned earlier in one of these parts of this Q&A, the audience of YouTube reactions changed. Maybe they got younger or so, but they got really a little more insulting and a little more immature, and I could see where the comparisons with other channels was starting to come in, and I started realizing that that probably wasn't the best direction to go. Had it been a few years ago when it was just like cool, and it was kind of interesting, me and Tyrone talked about this when we were in LA, about how early on it was really, everybody was a little more respectful and such, but then it started to get really immature for some reason. But actually, but post the roast rant, whatever, that I'm Dante made, a lot of that has now disappeared, because I think a good amount of those people have left finally. So it's for the best, I suppose. Alright, it's for the best. Definitely for the best. What were some of the mistakes you might have made getting there? I just talked about that. And how do you plan to fix that for your next goal, if you have a specific number? And looking back on your journey, what moment did you feel you were at your best or worst? Oh, that's a good question, actually. At my best? When was I at my best and when was I at my worst? Well, I was definitely at my worst when I was in Fukuoka, right before the big announcement. When I was definitely at my worst back then, because I wasn't sure how I was going, because it was really frustrating, because what I wanted to do for my channel wasn't what other people, it seemed like other people like would see. Like for example, every once in a while you'll see, like early on, I was doing these dope intros and putting a lot of time into them, especially the Batman v Superman Arrow-ish type parody ones. And the core fans got it. They were just like, dudes, this is fucking awesome. But then you would see other people come around and be like, oh, these fucking cringy intros like that. And it was kind of annoying to see it, like that early on, people complain about the intros, or people complain about the length of the videos. I think that's the biggest fucking word, please. The biggest fucking hypocritical point here is that at the time, you know, people would talk about how long my videos were, but now it's like, and like older fans, they were like, dude, he's actually adding content, he's actually reviewing and discussing things. But now that seems like that's what everybody wants to do now. And that's why I've never worried about the algorithm of YouTube changing. Like everybody's freaking out because they're getting less views, but I actually went up in views because people always expected that of me, to have these long discussions and such. So, what was the question? Okay, but yeah, so the whole idea was like, sometimes I've always wanted to create like more of a show with my channel and do these more elaborate things, but it always felt like there was this particular, I wouldn't even say core audience, there was this audience that, again, had this perceived notation of what a reaction channel should be. Simple, sit on the bed, or like just something simple, right? But that's never what I never wanted to be something simple. And that was kind of annoying because I knew what direction I was going to go. What direction I've always wanted to be was make this TV show environment. But I didn't like the fact that people were trying to box me into this category of what other people were going to be. Like, oh, you know, you'll never get to 100,000 subscribers like such and such or such and such. Like, right? I'm like, but that was never the point. I never wanted to be that type of channel. This is the direction I'm going. The best, I'd say now. I say now. That would be the best. I'm always at my best at the current moment in time. I feel I'm at the best. I have the studio, got the shield. There we go, like that. Next one, something more interesting, I guess. So what is it like to go home and see your family stateside? Okay, so we did. I'm going to be doing more shorts. That's coming up fairly soon. It's just editing is the biggest thing. This one came from Sly Spy. You got to collab and meet quite a few people when you got to California. Alyssa, Dan, Cyber, Greg, Tyrone, Javi, and you. Just off the top of my head were a few of them. My question is, when meeting some of these guys, what were your expectations of what it would be like to interact with them? How much did that differ in person in a negative way? Okay, did you feel you went to okay. Yeah, in short, basically, I didn't know what to expect when I met any of these people. Except for Tyrone. I kind of knew what to expect with Tyrone. It was very simple, like really simple with Tyrone. Greg was, I knew I had to be kind of prepared for the unexpected and such, and everybody else was just, Javi was a little more serious than I thought. That was interesting to meet with him, like a little more serious than I had thought he'd be. Adam was pretty much as is. And shout outs to Adam, like, by the way, Adam from Superhero News, shout outs to that dude, because for the suicide review that we did, we met in Hollywood, Man's Chinese Theater, and we are, I don't know what it's called now, THC or some shit like that. We saw the movie, and then we drove to his studio in Glendale area, and we filmed and did the review, and it was like 2 a.m. in the morning, and then he then drove me back right across the, like, if you live in LA, you know this was a distance. He drove me from Glendale to Culver City area where I was staying, and then drove back home after that. That shit, whew. Shout out to Adam for getting all that done. We were tired, but we wanted that review up ASAP. And then I edited mine part after that. So, let's moving on. DC, okay. Is it easy for me to make reaction videos? Not really. Hopefully it'll get much easier. It takes me about, currently on my, and that was another thing. Remember early on in these part questions about time versus creativity and such? Yeah. The reaction videos generally take about anywhere from 1 to 2 hours each video to make. If it's very, very simple, which I don't like making those type of videos usually, it takes about 30 minutes or so, but hopefully with the new computer a lot of that will change. But those Flash TV shows take like 4 or 5 hours total. It's yeah. Where do you see yourself if you weren't a YouTuber? Probably a musician or something like that, or doing more voiceover stuff, more voiceover work. Nice. Bigger than yours, buddy. Just going through a few of them. Hey Akasan, I was wondering if you ever consider moving forward with learning other languages outside of Japan and Japanese and English. Would you do something involving skits or maybe more promotional advertising or commercials or products that have your name on them? Yes, and more yes. I would. Languages, no, because I'm still, like, Japanese is fucking hard enough. But the other stuff, yeah, there's other things there's other things I'm working on that I think you guys will be very proud of me if we can ever get some of this off the ground. Okay. Next one. Okay, so Soulfist says, I'm almost at 50 subscribers. My question is, do you remember how you felt when you were around this mark? And can you compare it to how you feel now? The 250, no. Because I wasn't paying attention to sub numbers at all. Very, very early on, I was just like, what the hell? And it wasn't, so the one time I actually noticed, really paid attention, was right when I did that video for Tyrone or so. And I was, what, 7? Was that 7K? No, Ultra 5K. I think I said something like that. It was like 5K or something like that. But it was the 10K. I think that's the one I noticed a little bit. I think. Honestly, I can't even remember because I really don't look back on most of that. But because it just was like, whatever for me. It was kind of just like, okay, that's cool. Fucking a bunch of people are checking me out. It's really when I start seeing the audience participation change, that's when, or get increasingly so, that's when I start feeling like something different. And I think that's more interesting to me. Like, even like the fact that I can even make a top 5 movies of 2016, all my opinion, but people get so fucking vocal about it and have these long discussions. That's what I feel like. I feel like I achieved something. It doesn't matter so much about the number, because I still, even to this day, I have the counter right here. I don't even use it. Like, I forget to turn it on because it's never been that much of a focus for me. It's more about, it's always been about that interaction and the fact that people will sit through a 50 fucking minute video of me talking about my bizarre opinions on movies. Not many people can say that, right? Not many people can say that they can make those long ass videos and people will stick through them. So that's my achievement. That's my personal deal. All right. What are you going to do to make your channel more than just a reaction channel? Got it. What is the most important thing my parents taught me? I bet you taught it. Sorry, I had to. Oh my god. I think compassion. You know what? No, actually, I did not learn that from my parents so much about compassion, because sometimes I notice going back home, my mom is not as compassionate in terms of for other people. So I don't know. I think just to be polite, be kind, as much as possible, and look out for yourself as well. Yeah. All right. Battery is dying. I think that's pretty good for. Yeah, I think I've covered a good amount of these fairly good questions. Some of them are just repeating. Yeah, family and all the other stuff. Anything. You turned 19 during. Ha! Trevor Trot. Sorry, I'm looking at some of these videos. They're talking about some stuff I did as a tour, but some of those you'll probably just have to ask me on you now, because nobody would even know what I'm talking about. What has dating been like in Japan? It's been alright. It could be better, but I'm also very picky with my situation. Copyright strikes? Nah, okay, we're talking about that. Yeah. What was my favorite aspect of the journey to where I am right now? That's a good question. How should I end this? My favorite aspect of the journey to where... I guess my favorite aspect was basically keeping the kind of core audience, the fandom that I have right now. Like, I don't, again, like I said, I don't think many YouTubers can really say that about their channel. Like, to be at the level that I'm at, to have like, what, 2 million views a month or something like that, I think a lot of YouTubers can't really say that. Like, a lot of, even the, you know, the people that would hate on me, or, you know, badmouth me or something like that, I always thought it was kind of interesting. But then it also explained things as to why they would say that kind of stuff. Like, you know, they would have more subscribers than me or whatever, but they didn't really have the views, and they didn't really have that, I guess, the algorithm, the stuff that the algorithm likes. You know, they're 1 million views less than what I'm doing. And that's not to dog them or brag, but it also makes, it kind of explains certain things sometimes. It's kind of like it's never been so much about the sub count. It's exactly as I've always said, it's always about what you're doing. And I think the kind of appreciation that you're showing your audience, it does, you erase the rest of the fucking channels, it's always YouTube. It's always about what you want to put up there, and the kind of relationship you have from creator to subscriber or follower, audience, watcher, and such. And I think that's the most important thing, is to always just focus on that only. Forget what other people say about you, because those aren't the people that are watching you to begin with, right? All right, you guys take care of yourselves. I think I'll probably do one more video, maybe, but if I don't get this video out today, Happy New Year from the past. And you guys take care of yourselves.